Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel as part of our career conversations that we keep hosting for all of you every now and then. Today we have someone who has spent broadly 3.5 years in management consulting. We have Mr. Vaibhav Dhingra today with us. Vaibhav completed his bachelor's from Punjab Engineering College. He then worked with Amazon as an area manager. Then he came to do his MBA from ISB, Indian School of Business. And then he worked with Nestle in as a management trainee and in the demand planning team for broadly 2 years. Then he switched to BCG, where he joined as a senior associate. Then he was promoted to become a consultant, and right now he is a project leader. So he has spent 3 years, 7 months with BCG. So my first question to you, Weber, is can you help us understand your day to day via a project that you've recently completed?
Mhm. First of all, thanks for the introductions, Sarthak.
Sure.
I did not know that you have researched me so well to the point of saying that 3 years, 7 months. I had not calculated that in my own head. Yeah, but thanks for the introductions. To answer your question, currently I'm a project leader at BCG, right? So a typical day would look different compared to when I was a consultant 6 months back. So let me actually answer from my current work perspective, which is the project leader role, and then I'll also give you some idea about how a day would look like if you are a typical consultant or a senior consultant at BCG or any similar firm, right?
Sure.
So for me, I am my work currently is with a US-based IT services client, right? It's sort of an exception because we have to travel to the client location in US. So because of that, we don't have to travel weekly, as you would imagine, because we stay in India. I stay in New Delhi. Uh, but of course, it is a proper management consulting role wherein you have to be very hands-on with the client. So I have typically lots of calls, right? And my day is a little skewed compared to when I was doing a project back in India. Of
Mhm.
course, you have to do all sorts of projects. So a typical day for me starts with a check-in with my team. So I have about 3 people reporting into me. So we start a little late in the day because we end a little late in the day given the timings with the US client. So we start at about 11. We have a check-in at 11. We have a 30-minute roundup meeting wherein all the 3 members present the priorities of the day. It's not a very formal meeting, and that also depends upon your personal style of working. Some people prefer it a very formal meeting with some screen shared and some content being shared. I don't personally prefer that. For content purposes, I plan one-on-ones with my teams, which is through the day. But in the check-in call, I just want to understand where we are headed, if our directions are aligned, if our priorities are aligned. So each of the 3 reportees align their priorities with me. Then I sort of give my inputs on those and reprioritize those for them. At 11:30, we get into deep work. I always prioritize and focus deep work with my team. So it's like 11:30 to 1:30 or 2 is deep work time for my team and myself. For me, it's more about reviewing the content which my team has already prepared the day before, or any sorry, I in fact missed one thing. So essentially, after my check-in, I also wind up some of my emails that I have to clear from the last day. And in fact, sometimes, of course, I'm a PL, so I have to start earlier than the team. So
Yeah.
before my check-in at 11, I probably spend either while I'm traveling, commuting to work, or maybe early in the morning at my own house. I check my emails and clear all the client-related urgent emails in the first 30 minutes or 1 hour of the day. And that actually helps me reprioritize when I give the inputs to my team at 11. And then, of course, there is some bit of a backlog in terms of client communications, which I then complete in my deep work session from 11:30 to 1:30, and also review some of the content made by my team. Then about 1:30 or 2, we break for about 30 minutes of lunch. I also promote like a very active lunch session with my team wherein we chat, we sort of refresh. After lunch, then we have some focus sessions. I connect with my team members one-on-one. With each of
Mhm.
them, I have like a longer 1.5 hour working session
Nice.
to give them a detailed input on whatever modules that they're working on. So that brings me to, let's say, about 5:30 p.m. of active engagement. Then
Hmm.
again at about 5 to 5:30 p.m. I take another 1 to 2 hours of deep work. Maybe take a coffee at around that time, and then as soon as the clock hits 7 p.m., we have to gear up for the calls with the clients, right? In fact, sometimes the clients, if there are some clients on the east coast of US, we might be able to start in like 6:30 p.m. India time, which is for an east coast person that's like 8 a.m. Or 9 a.m. But for the clients in the west, of course, we have to take calls late in the night. So usually around 6:30 7 p.m. I take my calls. I take about 2 to 3 calls till about 9 p.m. Then about 9 to 9:30 p.m. I use that time to travel back home. In my travel, I just connect with my family, and maybe after getting back home, I have my meal, and then again get back on work. Right? We can't end the day early.
Yeah.
Uh, 10 p.m. I get back to work. Then about 10 to 12 p.m. 10 p.m. to 12 a.m. I do another set of round of calls with my clients. And then about midnight, it's supposedly a closing hour. We try to close the day at midnight, at least for the team. But of course, there's always some client requests urgently coming up. So you need to turn around something. So like about 12 to 1 is the buffer time. But yeah, I usually close my days at about 1 a.m.
Hmm.
Uh, Catch myself some quick episode, some show, or just some online scrolling or whatever I like in last 30 minutes of the day. Sometimes reading. I try to be healthier with my with my hobbies. And yeah, so I then end the day at about 1:30, and then of course about 6 to 7 hours of sleep, get up at 8 9. And yeah, I love lazy mornings, by the way. So I started my day from 11, but I am able to start my day from 11 because I get up early and enjoy maybe 1 to 2 hours of lazy morning, getting ready very slowly for work. That makes me less anxious, and that actually helps me to do work very efficiently throughout the day. So yeah, so very detailed answer, but I hope this will actually
Yeah,
be useful for someone listening
definitely.
and wanting to plan their day.
Definitely. And tell me something, this might be a controversial question, so
Yeah,
you can choose not to answer. Can you, so there are tons and tons of Reddit posts and YouTube videos, but
yeah,
as someone who's on the inside, can you help me understand what are the pay packages that someone can expect in management consulting,
yeah,
right from let's say when they're hired as a senior associate out
yeah.
of business school to the point when they become a partner in BCG India?
Okay. So yeah, I mean, I'm also not very well versed with the exact ranges, right? They keep on revising. But yeah, my estimate is that if you talk about an entry level senior associate level one, I think currently the base starts from somewhere around 30 to 35, and with your variables, you
Hmm.
can reach up to 40.
Yeah.
Uh, then for a consultant level, I think the base is somewhere around the 45 to 50 mark, and with your good bonuses, if you are a good performer, you can reach somewhere between 55 to 60, maybe sometimes more than 60.
Hmm.
uh, then as a senior consultant, like if you're a consultant too, then that in fact you have very high bonus component, so that might even reach 70. Then at a project leader level, your base starts somewhere between 65 to 70 lakhs per annum.
Hmm.
And of course, bonuses is there's a lot of ranges to the bonus associated with that. But I think an entry level project leader is usually an average performer is able to make at least 15 to 20 lakhs of bonus. And that helps the person reach about like a CTC, annual CTC of about 80 to 90, right? For
Hmm.
entry for an entry level average performing project leader.
Hmm.
If it's like a good performance, and if it's like the best ratings, as an entry level project leader, you can touch a CR.
Hmm.
And then of course from project level, leader level, it goes on to principal, from principal to partner, and then MDPs, right? So the progression from from a project leader, the ranges that I gave to you, even I'm not aware of the exact ranges on that, but what I can broadly speak is that the increment is not insanely high when you once. So the most high increments is in the first few stages, right, from a senior associate to consultant, and consultant to PL.
True.
From PL to principal, and from principal to partner is maybe like a 10 to 15% raise.
Hmm.
And then the next major and a very major jump comes when you become an MDP, which is the actual gold post for a lot of people in consulting, right? And over there, I would feel that, of course, it all depends upon the amount of cases that you're able to sell, the
Yeah.
deal that you're able to sell. But
Yeah.
yeah, I think an entry level partner would definitely be making an excess of 2 CR if he or she is doing the targets well.
Wow.
Yeah.
And all these stages that you talked about typically come after 1.5 years of tenure in a particular hierarchical level.
Yeah. About 2 years is I think the benchmark. If
Got
you are
it.
a great performer, maybe a few months less,
Hmm.
sometimes a little, maybe 3 to 6 months more. But yeah, an average is about 2 years.
Got it. And tell me more about BCG interviews. How many interview rounds happen? Is it more difficult to crack it as compared to the other two contemporaries of MBB, or is it easier? And how did you prepare?
See, I would not be very sure about the comparison with the contemporaries, but I do feel that the process at BCG India for hiring is very structured and streamlined for
Hmm.
one, right?
Hmm.
And in fact, it has been getting better and better over the time, right? For my own, if I take my own example, I entered BCG laterally, which is never easy in any of the top consulting firms, right? So the campus procedure, all of us would be aware that it's a very streamlined, structured process wherein on one particular day you have 2 to 4 rounds of interviews and then you get in, right? But let me actually speak more about the lateral process. I can definitely say that in lateral process compared to the contemporaries, the BCG process is much more structured and streamlined. For me, end to end, the process as a lateral was completed within a month, less than a month, I would say, right? And
Hmm.
this is considering all the MD, like I had 4 rounds of interviews, right? And
Hmm.
all those 4 rounds of interviews were sort of completed within, let's say, about 15 days. And all the decision and all the formalities. In fact, even before there are a few days of time before your first interview. So I think end to end, it took me less than a month, which is great. In fact,
Hmm.
probably even less than a month. I think it was
Yeah.
probably 20, 25 days, right? So very structured, streamlined process. And the other thing is that BCG is also valuing a lot of people who have some expertise in a particular industry. Like I think I was able to get into BCG because I could demonstrate my rich experience in my early stages of career in the e-commerce and the consumer goods sector, right?
Very true.
So I feel that that really worked in my favor because people have that conception that for the interview process, some of the top consulting firms just want raw talent, people who have not really worked for a long time in the industries. But this is a misconception, I feel. Uh, top consulting firms still do want you to join the firm young because that's the stage wherein you can contribute the best. You have a sharper mind, and then you have all the vigor and the energy to work like a like a 25-year-old kid in the block who's very enthusiastic. But having said that, the consulting industry and the top consulting firms like BCG are also now more and more valuing more and more your experience, right? And if you have like a good, rich experience in the first 3 to 4 years of your career before consulting, I think that's sort of a very good spot to be in, right?
Hmm.
So yeah, to again summarize your answer, I am definitely a fan of the BCG recruitment process,
Yeah.
and I genuinely believe that the process is better than the other firms.
Got it. But number of rounds were three or four?
For me, in the lateral process, there were 4 rounds,
Hmm.
but actually it varies, right? The least number of rounds that I've ever heard of in a lateral setup is maybe three.
Yeah.
Uh, the most is maybe five, right?
Wow. Got it.
So I don't think people go beyond five or
Yeah.
less than three. So
Yeah.
yeah, about four is an average.
Got it. And this would be a mix of guesstimates, cases, and everything in between.
That is correct. Yes.
Now, let me ask you a very nuanced question. You have spent broadly 1.5 years with Nestle, and you've
Yep.
done a bunch of demand forecasting with them specifically for Maggie.
Hmm.
Now, just to help others understand the difference between a general management role in a conglomerate versus a strategy consulting role. If I
Hmm.
ask you that, okay, in Nestle, you were doing demand forecasting for an FMCG for a consumer goods conglomerate,
Yep.
and how would Nestle react, or how would Nestle operate if instead of giving it to you, they had
Hmm.
hired BCG to handle the same demand forecasting problem? Would the BCG consultant's work, who's an outsider,
Yep.
versus your work as an insider when you were in Nestle in demand forecasting, would that be identical?
that would never be identical, and I'll tell you why, right? And
Hmm.
I'm not saying that one is better than the other. So
Hmm.
let that be the biggest disclaimer before my answer comes in, right? So
Hmm.
when you're in the industry, you have to think more from a day-to-day basis and a more operational lens of taking things forward and doing it on a day-to-day basis, right? When
Hmm.
you're a consultant, your biggest goal is to set up that process, right? And set up the process in the best way possible so that a person who's working in the industry in that role can take that forward, right? And
Yeah.
in fact, I'll give you an example of my time at Nestle. I for some reasons I would not be able to name the consultant, but while I was working with Nestle, even Nestle had hired one of the consulting firms to do a project in the demand planning function. Right now,
Okay.
that project was simply geared towards upgrading or modernizing the systems and the tools that were required to do demand planning estimates. Right,
Hmm.
stuff like if traditionally the demand planning was used using some methodology, but that methodology was plugged in into detailed macro-enabled Excel models. Now you just take those macro-enabled Excel models to the cloud and have like a software or some processes, some more structured cloud-based subscriptions around it, right?
Very true.
So that's the work of a consultant. And maybe
Hmm.
this in this example, this is more of not exactly a strategy work.
Yeah.
So that was doing it actually was more of an implementation consultant,
Hmm.
not one of the top three consulting firms in strategy. However, still the idea is that me in the demand planning role, I was doing almost the same thing, but with that consulting firm coming in helping us, they just made my job easier, right? So that is the help they provided to me. Now, how did I help them? So they
Hmm.
sometimes the people in the consulting firms are also generalists, right? They know about the software and then the setup and the processes, but they don't really know the methodology, the richness of the work that we do on the day-to-day basis, right? So
Very
they
true.
also needed me as much as I needed them. They
Hmm.
needed to lend them the experience of working in that function, the depth of the role, which I provided to them so that we could together work in the solution, right?
Yeah.
Another thing that I feel that the consultants are the most effective if they get enough and more support from the clients. And similarly, the clients get the best result if they support the consultants, right? So it's
Hmm.
just always a function wherein we have to work hand in hand with the clients.
Very true. Got
Hope
it.
that answers your question.
Definitely. And my last question to you before we wrap up is tell me two things from ISB that you learned that really helped you in cracking a consulting role.
Okay, that's a good one. Hmm. I think the first thing I would say is dealing with ambiguity, right?
Hmm.
So, and it's an interesting one, right? It just came into my mind, right? When I was not at BCG, or in fact, when I was not at ISB, we were always trained to deal with a lot of data coming in our way. I have an engineering background, as you know, right? So as
Yeah.
an engineer, you was always trained to actually get that data, do some detailed analysis, and then get to the answer, right?
True.
However, in your MBA and especially at ISB, you learn to solve problems when you don't have the most relevant information to solve that problem, right? You
Yeah.
have to make educated guesses. You have to be very comfortable in handling complexity and managing ambiguity, right?
Yeah.
So I think that's one thing that I learned from ISP that really helped me at my time at BCG, because the real life problems are not always do not always come with a detailed note on what needs to be done, right?
Yeah.
So yeah, that's maybe one. If I have to really think about another one, I think the other one is maybe more towards the soft skills per se, in terms of uh, maybe even networking, I would say, right? And
Hmm.
not only networking, right? It's beyond networking. In my own case, I feel that I was an introvert back then, right? And of
Hmm.
course, you can never change your personality. Maybe I'm still an introvert, right? But
Yeah.
now, I think the ISB experience gives you an opportunity to be more comfortable in talking to new people,
Very
right?
true.
Uh, and that has also helped me immensely while now I'm in a role wherein you have to correspond with clients on a day-to-day basis, right? In this current role, and in fact, even when I was a consultant, when you're working in the top three consulting firms, as I already mentioned in my previous answer, you get the best results when you work hand in hand with the client, right? And
Yeah.
if you're that person who's not even comfortable with speaking up, with talking to the clients, and have some inhibitions, you'll not be able to be as successful as a person who's very comfortable in talking to new people and discussing ideas, right?
Hmm.
So yeah, short answer, the component of networking and the ability to talk to new people very comfortably is
Yeah.
I learned from ISB.
Very nice. Awesome. Thank you so much for this super duper insightful conversation, Weber. I'm 100% sure that this will help all ISB slash consulting aspirants. So
Yeah.
thank you so much for your
And
time.
it is, Sarthak, I did not say this in the beginning, but I didn't know. I thought we were just connecting on a pre-call to align for the interview that you're going to take me. I was not prepared for this interview, but I think that really helped me, because had I been prepared, I would have had thoughts which would not naturally come to me.
Wow,
So all
yeah,
the
very
thoughts that I could share were very naturally coming to me. So yeah, I appreciate you for for orchestrating this, and
Awesome.
pleasure to talk to you.
Awesome. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
Take care. Bye.